It's time to talk about a book, which is one of my favorite things we do on this channel. So I'm hyped up. I also really enjoyed this book, so I'm really excited. But first, let me say hi. Welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor. That's what this is, just a moment in time in my life. I want to share it with you. I want to share moments in time in your life with myself. So thanks for being here, whether you're here live or on the replay. I do go live on Periscope every single day, 7 days a week for 3 hours a day, but I'm live right now on YouTube as well. So it's Next Juice everywhere, N-E-X Juice, J-U-I-C-E. There is one notice I want to put out there is that if you're watching this on Periscope live, you probably can't see anyone else's comments. I haven't been able to figure out why that is. It seems to be some kind of new Periscope glitch, but if you go on YouTube, you'll be able to see everyone's comments on YouTube. So if you want to go watch on YouTube, I don't blame you. Hopefully Periscope will get it fixed. I did email them. I've been talking to other broadcasters to see what problems they're having, and it seems that it's when they multicast to Periscope and YouTube at the same time. Unfortunately, I like to have these streams on both platforms because Periscope's my main platform, but YouTube has much better organization structure, so I can organize my broadcasts into playlists. I'm a live streamer. I go live every single day. I do lots of different types of content, from book reviews about financial books such as this one to reviewing the show Survivor and hanging out in a hot tub. So I like to have different categories, so whether you like one thing or another, you can go to my YouTube channel and find all of the things within a certain category in one spot. So the more social stuff is only on Periscope, but book reviews, yoga and meditation, Survivor recaps, those kinds of things all have their own playlists on my YouTube channel. So if you go check that out, you'll be able to see everything you like in one spot. So without further ado, let me show you the book I am reviewing and discussing and recapping with you tonight, and I will read the comments in just one moment since we are live. This is Poor Charlie's Almanack: The Wit and Wisdom of Charles T. Munger. And it's a huge book. Look how much of the screen it takes up. I could make it take up the entire screen, actually. It's gigantic. It's way bigger than my head. It's huge. It's awesome. It's full of fun, good information in here, but it's a perfect example of why I do what I do on this channel. I love to read. You can see yesterday, if you were with me live on Periscope, I added more books to this shelf here. We're getting to a pretty full bookshelf. I've read over 200 books. There's a lot of books I've read that aren't on this shelf. I only keep the ones I either want to read again or pass on to my kids, or sometimes I use them as to show you guys what the book looks like when I'm recommending a book. So this book is a great example of a book that most people wouldn't want to sit and read. It's big, it's bulky, right? You're not going to want to carry this to the beach. You're not going to carry it around in your purse for when you're in a waiting room and you want to kill some time or you get stuck behind the train at the train tracks. This is a massive book that you really have to dedicate routine time to reading and studying. It's also a subject that not a lot of people are interested in learning or reading about. Thank you, Joe, for the support. Thank you for the super hearts. I appreciate that. Oops, I think I'm supposed to have it like this. Nope, other way. Like this? No. How did I have it before? I don't remember. There's the tip jar though. Wonder if I can move. I don't know. I'll have to figure out a better way to put this, but for now I'll leave it like that. Okay, sorry, a little distraction. Gotta love live streaming. I will read the comments in a moment, but this is an example of a book that most of you probably don't want to sit there and read, but you might be curious what the book is about. So that's why I do what I do here is I read lots of books, and then I tell you guys what they're about. I do live reviews, discussions, and summaries of the books like we're gonna do right here tonight, but I also do book review emails. So I'll send you out an email that has all the books that I've read, summarized, reviewed, and linked in case you are interested in getting it for your own bookshelf or gifting it to somebody. I'll have all those three things in a free email format, and I only send that email out 3 times a year. 3 times a year, once every 4 months, I send you one email, and it's literally just a rundown of all the books I read over that 4-month period. And if you don't believe me, you can see for yourself if you go to the website where you'll see the sign up form. It's on every page, I believe, where you can sign up for the book reviews email. It's just first name and email. I don't care what name you use. just use an email that you're actually going to get it so that you can actually read it and enjoy it. And if you have Gmail, make sure you add nextjuice@gmail.com to your contacts so that it doesn't go into your promotions tab. Because I use MailChimp, it's a mass email that goes out to everyone who signs up for it. So Gmail will see that as like a marketing email, and it'll put it in your promotions tab, and you might miss it. So if you add nextjuice@gmail to your contacts, it'll go into your inbox, and then you'll actually see it. And like I said, I don't spam you at all. There's no sales in it or anything. It's just a bunch of books. And when you go to sign up, before you sign up, you can click See Previous Campaigns. If you click that button, you'll see all the previous emails that I've sent out, and you'll see exactly what it looks like before you even commit to signing up for it. And like I said, it's free. I mean, you're not signing up for anything but getting those, because not everyone wants to sit here and listen to me live stream all the things I want to say about this book while engaging with comments. And sometimes some books have taken hours to get through our full discussion on, which is really fun when you're here live. When you're watching on the replay, you might want to just have a little written blurb about the book. You can also follow me on Goodreads, which is where I put what books I want to read, what books I'm reading. When I read them, I put reviews up there, so you can kind of get live updates on what I'm doing in terms of reading if you use that app. It's free again. The app is Goodreads, or it's goodreads.com if you're on browser. So let me give shout outs to the people who are here live. Tia, hi. First comment over on YouTube. Hey, Jared, beautiful eyebrows. Thank you. Wait, me or Charlie? You can't even see his eyebrows. They're behind his glasses. I wear glasses that are actually somewhat similar to his. Thanks for inviting Matt. Matt, first comment on Periscope. Hey, Berto. Puma. Hey, Chloe. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Sarah. Look at all the ladies coming in to learn about Charlie Munger. I love this so much. I love you guys. Ben, Michael, we got the guys here too. I'm only here to hear you not read comments, so I'm okay. What? Oh, to hear you, not to read comments. Oh, I thought you meant to hear me not read comments. I'm like, I try to read the comments. I get what you mean now, Victoria. All right, awesome. Natalie, thank you for the super hearts. Thank you so much. I know this looks kind of messy. I'm going to fix that someday, but today's not that day. Yay, hot tub, Boo Survivor. We might go in the hot tub tonight. If you guys wanted to go in the hot tub, let me know. Ed wants to go in the hot tub. So the hot tub broke. I don't know if you guys know. We have this inflatable hot tub. It deflated and we got it replaced under warranty, which is awesome. Shout out to Coleman for replacing the hot tub completely for free. We had to wait for it to come in, get rid of the old one, put the new one up. When I say we, I mean Ed, my boyfriend, who is amazing, and he did it all by himself. And it's officially up to temperature and working as of today. He set it up yesterday, had to wait for the water to heat up. So it's ready to go tonight. He wants to go in it. I'm a very bad girl, and I didn't go live as early as I wanted to today. So I'm going to be live very late, which means I might not have time to do it after I'm done live streaming, because I do 3 hours of live content every day. So if you guys want to go in the hot tub live, just let me know, because I know some people aren't the biggest fan of that. So just let me know who's here tonight and who wants to do that. I am on Periscope and YouTube at the same time, yes. South Jersey in the house. Dixon! I thought you were in Philly. That's what she said. Joe! Cool graphic. Thank you. Hey, Kate. Lots of girls in here tonight. I love this. Hey, F. Hey, Earl. I see you this time. Earl was in my private Periscope stream earlier tonight, and I totally missed his comment because I'm a jerk. I used Goodreads in middle school. Really? What? I didn't even know about it back then. You should go in the hot tub. Okay, awesome. We have 1 vote for hot tub, or maybe 2, because Berto already said yay. Well, let's do the book review first. So I did just post my written book review for this on my Goodreads page right before going live here. And now I'm going to actually use that as my reference, little notes, so I don't skip anything. So to start off with, like I said, the book is humongous, but I still really enjoyed it. So if you like reading in-depth books about people, it's almost like a biography. So the way that it's laid out is the beginning of the book is his history. So it's the history of Charlie Munger. It is, and if you don't know who Charlie Munger is, let me back up and tell you who he is. So he was a lawyer, and then he met Warren Buffett, who is the CEO and chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, one of the most successful investment firms in history. And he met Warren Buffett through a mutual friend, and once they met, Buffett basically convinced him to stop being a lawyer and to go into the investing business as well. Bob, thank you so much for the super love. So these two went into business as partners. way back when. He's now in his 80s, and they are still partners. They're still each other's right-hand man of Berkshire Hathaway. They always speak very highly of each other. They are two peas in a pod, and that is why his information, his life is interesting, because he's a very successful and he's a successful investor and an intelligent man. So that's the kind of people I like to learn about and read about and learn from, because I don't have the pleasure of knowing Charlie personally, but I do have the pleasure of reading a book about him in which he wrote a lot of this. So it's not a book by him, it's a book about him, and the beginning part is about his history, his childhood, where he grew up, how he met his wife, how he met Warren Buffett, how they came to work together, what things that they say about each other, commentary on him from other successful people, mostly men, throughout his life. And then it's a compilation. This is actually kind of heavy. I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to put it down. Then it's a compilation of 11 talks that he's given throughout the years. So talks that he's given at different business conventions, talks he's given to the graduation ceremonies of Harvard and so on, and they're all on different subjects. So it's pretty interesting the way it's laid out. I think it's really well put together. That was one more thing I wanted to put. Let me just make myself a little note here. It has a great list of recommended readings, recommended books in the back of this book, which I love, and I want to make sure I include that in my review when I write it. To Munger review. Live streaming, sorry, I don't get to edit little things like that out. Have you ever wanted to look like a broccoli stem? I can't say that I have. Have you? What the actual heck? In the back of this, let's see if I can flip there and show you guys what I'm talking about here. It's basically, you know what a recommended reading list looks like, but from someone like him, it's pretty awesome, and he has pictures of a lot of the books included in here, which is unique. You don't usually see that. The book is in full color. So here's the first page, recommended books. Then you have another page and a half. And at the bottom of this page, you have a few from the editor as well. So the guy who edited and put this book together, which is Peter Kaufman. He has some of his recommended readings as well. And then throughout the book, they reference different books as well that I've added to my list. So everything on that list that I haven't already read, I added to my to-be read list. And everything I noticed throughout the book that seemed interesting, I added that as well. One of the biggest things that I took away from this book was the importance of having a multidisciplinary approach. So he criticizes soft sciences, such as economics and psychology, for being very narrow-minded and singularly focused. Rarely do they pull from the other sciences and apply concepts of other fields of thought and study to their fields. And he thinks this is a really, really horrible flaw of academia and of the way that people think and are trained to think in general, because it's beneficial when you know the most important concepts of different fields, because you can then apply all of those different areas that you've learned about, and you can apply them to problem solving and decision making, which are two of our higher level functions of our brain that we develop as we become adults. And if you make good decisions and are good at solving problems, chances are you're going to be pretty successful in whatever you want to be successful in. So whether you're interested in investing or not, it's important to know this stuff and to be educated and to be ever curious and always learning. So maybe you don't like to read books. That's fine. Maybe you like to watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts or go to events where there's a lot of speakers, or actually take classes and courses and do hands-on work or an apprenticeship, whatever it is. But always be learning, always be growing, and try not to just get too narrow-minded into what you're focused on. So for example, for me, I study psychology. I'm actually studying to be a therapist, and this was very helpful to me for him to say, study physics, study chemistry, learn these important concepts from other sciences, and then you can learn to apply them to the field of expertise, right? His is investing, mine would be psychology, although I find investing in finance very interesting. Been studying it for a couple years as well. I'm by no means an expert, but he is, so that's why I like to learn from them. So it's like when you can't learn from somebody directly, a book that is about them and by them is really, really excellent way to learn about that. Now, at the end of this book, in particular with psychology, he has compiled all these different psychological, cognitive biases, we call it in psychology. He calls them psychological tendencies, I believe. And I was exposed to these concepts from him in a book that I've read years ago. And I'll show you that book. I meant to grab it ahead of time, sorry. I rearranged all my books yesterday to fit the new books on the shelf, and I forgot where it was. Okay, there it is. Charlie Munger, The Complete Investor. Now, this book is much smaller, more compact and concise, so if you don't want to read the big giant one that we're reviewing tonight, which is inspired, if you didn't catch the implication, Poor Charlie's Almanack it's inspired by his hero and mentor throughout history, which is Ben Franklin, Poor Richard's Almanack. So he just kind of like took that title for his own. If you don't want to read all that, all of the cognitive biases he covers in there, he sums up in short in this book. So it's much more expanded and revised in that book. There's even a quote from him in the Almanack that says, "You guys made me want to revise this talk." So talk 11, the final talk, is his talk about cognitive biases. And what he did for this almanac was he completely rewrote, revised, expanded, and wanted to make it really thorough because he wanted to kind of leave that mark on the field of psychology. And he's never taken a psychology course in his life. He was a lawyer, so he took a lot of courses in general, but he never took a psychology course. Instead, he just was self-taught, very much as I was before I recently started going to school for psychology. He just read a lot of books and studied them. One book that really got him interested in cognitive biases and psychology in general is a book I also enjoyed and read when I was in Hawaii, called Influence by Cialdini. I want to say Richard Cialdini. I forget the first name, but it's called Influence, and the last name is CIA. You know what? I have it. Let me grab that too. Why not? Why not? Hey there, Lisa. How are you? Robert Cialdini. Another great book. The Psychology of Persuasion. Robert Cialdini. A little bit longer than The Complete Investor. Different perspective on the cognitive biases and how they influence us and the people that we influence. So you can use it to get what you want from people, and then remember that people use it to try to get what they want from you as well. So it's good to be aware of these things no matter what you're interested in. No matter if you are you work at, you work at just a basic 9-to-5 job. You're not trying to become very wealthy or, quote unquote successful. You're happy to just, kind of like be the norm, standard. You still want to be aware of when somebody's using psychological concepts to manipulate you and to try to get you to do what they want you to do. So being aware of that type of stuff is invaluable, and I think it should be taught in schools, and hopefully one day it will be. And when I say schools, I mean like public schools as part of, if there's going to be compliant education, forced education, then I would say that it should be useful and practical for our lives, You own Berkshire Hathaway stock. Wow. Okay. I think it's down right now, right? You should go in the hot tub. All right. Oh, I think I already read that one. Sorry, I went back too far here. When it's bigger than my head, it's huge. Yeah, sorry, Joe. I was trying to get through some thoughts before reading the comments. You love podcasts and YouTube videos. Thank you, Danny. Midnight wanted me to ask the broccoli thing. Oh, weird. Nice shoulder. Hey, thanks. Happy Memorial Day to you too, Mark. Memorial Day is I feel like it's not really a happy day, but Buffett's best friend. You got it, Carlos. That's exactly right. Apparently they think very, very much the same, and as soon as they met, it was like instant connection. Hey, Mark. Oh, well, thank you for doing the survey, Lisa. What's got you down? You want to talk about it? Hey, eMusic. Who doesn't like the hot tub? I don't know. Some people that responded to my survey. If you are a viewer of this channel, which you are if you're hearing this message right now, please do go to nextjuice.com and take my survey. It should only take you a few minutes. It's just a survey to figure out the best way to make this channel what you want it to be. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, tell me what you want more of, tell me what you want less of. Rate me on a scale from 1 to 5 oranges and let me know how you really feel. It's totally anonymous, so I won't know it's you, and you can help me to make this channel the best it can be, because I love doing this and I want to be able to do it forever. Thank you. Okay, so multidisciplinary approach, summation of the cognitive biases, talked about his history. Let's see if I missed anything. I talked about the layout of the book. He encourages economists to incorporate more psychological concepts into their work. And he criticizes the soft sciences for being a little bit insecure, is kind of what the takeaway that I got, which is that he says, in psychology, it's the science of the mind. So, but it's not viewed as in high regard as a science as something like physics. And therefore he thinks because of that, psychology has become kind of defensive. So instead, it wants to prove that it's a science, but it doesn't utilize, some of the hard sciences in a way that would be beneficial to it, and vice versa. When you're conducting experiments in any field, knowing about psychology, if you're going to be using human subjects or humans to operate the experiment, to run the experiment, it's important to know basic psychological concepts, which he says really can be taught quite easily. And I agree, those cognitive biases are some of the most important things you're ever going to learn in psychology, and you could learn it in one day or 1 week, for sure. You might not memorize all of them, but repetition can get you there. So he talks about checklists. That's another thing I didn't mention. He thinks that checklists are very important. Mental checklists and physical actual checklists. Make a checklist. So before you buy a stock, you should have your checklist. And they provide a really thorough checklist in the Almanack. It's not in the other book that I showed you. So if you really do want that checklist, you'll want to see if you can maybe find it online or get the book yourself just to get that checklist. I took a picture of it with my phone so that I could use it in the future when I'm considering buying a stock. And he talks about, he's a lawyer, so he knows how to invert the argument. So if you're like, oh, I really want to buy this stock, this company's awesome, the management is awesome, they have all these great competitive advantages, the price is great, I've run a valuation on it, everything looks great, then you want to invert it. Then you want to say, okay, well, now convince yourself all the reasons you shouldn't buy the stock. Because you can't really be confident in your position until you can argue the other side better than the other side can argue it. That's something Charlie believes, and I believe that's been a concept from well before Charlie said it, is you have to be able to argue the other side better than they can, so that anything they might bring to you that might change your mind. You want to be open-minded too, right? You don't want to be clenched and stuck in the one of the biases, which is like confirmation bias and inconsistency avoidance tendency, he calls it, which is that you don't want to change your mind. You don't want to admit that you are wrong for however long you believed the previous thought, so you will basically avoid psychological pain avoidance tendency, which he also talks about, where you avoid anything that will cause you the pain of the embarrassment and the shame of having been wrong in the past. You'll instead foolishly continue to say the thing that is wrong you believe to be correct because you don't want to admit that you were wrong. So these kinds of things are very, very important for being successful and being smart, basically. So checklists, that's something that I don't use a lot, and I could definitely, I function better when I'm using a checklist type layout. So whether it's nice to have it in writing, but sometimes you're going to be in a situation where you can't write a checklist or pull out a checklist. You don't maybe carry a checklist around with you where you can check it off before making a decision. So it's good to then convert those checklists into a mental format, so you can run down your checklist in your mind before making a decision, or even when you're trying to solve a problem. Run through the checklist, okay? What psychological biases are being used right now that might be affecting the way that you or others are going to behave, or the future outcome of a company? What's the Lollapalooza effect? There's multiple different factors at any given time. There's multiple different psychological biases at any given time. There's multiple factors in general to affecting a potential outcome. So what are all the different, and he says, we tend to drastically underestimate second and higher order consequences. So we think, well, if this happens, then this could happen. If this happens, then this could happen. Cause and effect, cause and effect. Well, take it further. So you have your cause and effect, then what's the effect of that effect? What does that effect then cause? And further and further and further to higher and higher effects, because those can be much larger than we even think down, because we don't want to necessarily think deeply. We don't want to spend a ton of time thinking all these things out. But if you take that time up front, you can save yourself a lifetime of pain and regret. So I think that's pretty much it that I have for this book review tonight. I am really excited now to read The Snowball about Warren Buffett, which I have back there on my bookshelf, and I'm currently reading The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, so I'm loving that already. I think I'm about 100 pages into that one, which is really awesome. Echo chamber bias. I'm not familiar with that one. What is this yellow thing you're seeing? Oh, this is the exercise ball. The kids were playing on this yesterday, and I forgot to put it back in its home. Oh, which almost just knocked that light over. We're good. We're good. Everything's in its place. All right. Do I read annual reports? I only have companies that I own. Although I own Vanguard Total Market Index Fund, I'm not prepared to talk about... I studied several books about investing over the last, particularly value, buy and hold investing. And it's been really awesome, and I really enjoyed learning about it. However, it focuses primarily on stock purchases. The book Financial Freedom by Grant Sabatier was really good for talking about different things that you can invest in. But what I haven't studied very much is, I've studied mostly equities, stocks, but not, securities, they call them. But I haven't really studied much on the bond side of the scale. And as I'm reading The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, I'm now starting to learn. So I'm going to do a broadcast about the different types of bonds. I just read that tonight. So I'm really loving this book, because it's not just, I read a lot of development books, which is a lot of like, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Don't give up. Keep on going. All this great stuff, all these great mindset things, which are important. I really do believe mindset is the foundation. But once you've gotten there, you're like, okay, I'm motivated, but like, how can I increase my knowledge and my expertise, my skills? And books like The Intelligent Investor do a really good job of that. Because even this book, Poor Charlie's Almanack, was theoretical mostly. He said, go read these books, so I'm going to go read those books and hopefully learn more. Like, I think even Darwin's On the Origin of Species might have been in there. Learning these, the true facts and data. So in this book, they break down, here are the different types of bonds, here are the benefits, pros and cons, here's how you kind of vet through them. So I made myself a note to do a broadcast about that, because I'm just learning about that, and they basically say in the value investing that you shouldn't be 100% in stocks, you should have some in bonds, which I have nothing in bonds. So some people say that's okay because I'm young, but I do want to explore bonds, what they really truly are, what's the upside and downside of them, what kind of returns you can get on what types of bonds, because there are a lot. I kind of, I guess, always thought there's bonds. You can get bonds. It's like you get a bond. I didn't know there's 10 plus different types of bonds, and then you have to choose which kind of bond you want and why, what's your intention with them. So I'm really enjoying learning about that, but I'm not prepared to really teach that just yet. So right now I'm 100% in terms of my investment outside of my savings account in just cash. I'm in a total market index fund, VTI, which is also kind of contrary to value investing. That's just investing with the market to get average returns. And then I have about 20% of my portfolio, because it went up. It wasn't 20% when I bought it, but the price has gone up quite significantly, is Twitter stock. That's the only really individual company I've purchased on my own. I do also own some gold mining stocks of gold mining companies and exploratories, which were investment advisements that my previous lover had given me, my ex, and I would not have made those decisions knowing what I know now. I didn't make those decisions at the time, but I did, because I said, whatever you think, I'll do that. So he had kind of said, oh, you have too much money in your savings account, you should probably start putting it somewhere. And I was like, where should I put it? He's like, well, this is where I would put it. And I said, okay, do that. Because I was young, I was naive, I didn't know anything about investing, and I didn't know. So I have lost a significant amount of money on those stocks. So, I don't know. And I don't know anything about the industry. I'm not really interested in it, so I don't study it. I don't read the annual reports on those companies. I just consider them a loss at this point, and will probably use them as a tax balancer, you know, so I don't have to pay as much capital gains tax if I ever do cash out. When I do cash out on some stocks, I'll probably use those to count against my gains. Oh yeah, confirmation bias. Yeah, Josh, exactly. Hey Albert, you did the survey. Cool survey. Thanks, Mark. Did you like that last picture at the end? Hey, hot tub scopes are OG. I need to figure out what kind of job I should do. Financially, I'm struggling a bit. Yeah, so what do you like to do? What kind of jobs have you had in the past? What are you good at? Jared says, how do I keep a job? How weird that two people on two different platforms just both asked about jobs at the same time. How do you keep a job? Do everything that you're expected to do in that job and then do more. And then not only will you keep it, but you'll not only succeed at it, you'll move up. You'll get promotions, you'll get raises. Yeah. So why have you not been able to keep jobs in the past? What are some of your weaknesses there? Hi, King. How are you? Lazy King. Good to see you too, Natalie. Take care too. Arturo, what's up, man? Is this Taylor? It is. Hi. This is Taylor, yes. I need to get that positivity book perhaps to help myself. Maybe. That book doesn't say anything about, it's not like career advice. It's mindset. So yeah, if you think your mindset's keeping you from getting a job, then yeah, maybe that'll help. You've heard great things about me? Oh, that's good. I wasn't sure where that was going to go next. Thank you. Just like Donald Trump. Some people love me, some people hate me, and everywhere in between. So I wasn't sure when you said, wait, you're Taylor? I'm like, oh, this could go either way. You loved the survey pic? Good. I love you too, Samantha. A double helix? Thanks. Thank you, Lena. Are you saying, is that advice for somebody? Are you saying you love what I do, or are you telling people love what you do in terms of jobs? What if you don't like the job? Get a job that you do like. So Samantha, which you shared publicly, so hopefully you're okay with me kind of bringing this up again, had shared something interesting that I don't think I've ever heard anyone say before, and I found it really fascinating, which is that she's never found a job that she liked. And I found that so fascinating because I think I've liked all the jobs that I've done. I don't know if I just like to work or what. You know, when I was young, I was naive. So when I was 13, this is going to go way off from the book now, so we're kind of just chatting and just having open discussion now at the end. I cut myself and I wanted to kill myself. I was really depressed. I had zero self-esteem. I was really just not in a good place. Around the age of like 19, 20, 21, about 10 years ago, I started to come out of it and I started to learn a lot more and to really change my life and to experience more success. Even before that, I enjoyed jobs. But I really thought that if people learned what I had learned, that they could have the experience that I've had. So by learning about positive psychology and reading the books that I've read, thank you, Sunflower, for following me. Interesting. I'm going to comment on that in a moment. Let me just finish what I'm saying. Whatever, yoga, meditation, the things that have worked for me. If people could just do those things, then they would love their life and have a great life and be so happy just like I am. And as I've gotten older, and I'm sure even as I get older and older and older, maybe, I don't want to say I'm sure, because as I've gotten older, I know I'm not sure of anything, and I don't know anything, and anything I think I know can change within a year or less, or more, or whatever. But I've started to come to a kind of sobering conclusion, and I want to know what you think about this. And I wouldn't call it a conclusion yet. It's a theory that I've been developing resistantly. I don't want it to be true, which is an important theory, right? I'm looking for proof of something that I don't want to exist, which is a really great way that, Charlie Munger in this book, we're still talking about the book, he commends Charles Darwin for looking for disconfirming evidence, looking for things that go against what he thinks is true so that he can really, really, truly be sure before jumping to any conclusions. And the theory is that, one thing that's true, this isn't a theory, I would say would be more of a fact, is that everyone is different. And what one person is interested in and likes and works for them and is an epiphany, an aha moment to them, can be completely different for other people. And other people might say, well, yeah, that's obvious, that's common sense. Or someone might say, I completely disagree with that, I think that's wrong. So everybody's different in that way. I think we all know that. But I'm starting to wonder how I can really help people, how I can give people advice. Because for a while I thought I could do it very easily. Oh, well, here's what I did. Just do what I did and you'll have a great life. But then I find someone like Samantha who's so courageous and so comfortable enough to tell me I've never liked any job, that I just don't like working. I don't enjoy work. And it's like literally, like, she's saying something that she might think is like so common because she's experienced that her whole life and probably knows plenty of people who feel that same way. And I have lived in this little bubble where I thought that I didn't even know that that's how people felt. I didn't know there were people that felt that way. They don't like working because I love working to the point that I could potentially become like a workaholic, you know, and like I've learned that, you know, what's truly important in life and always prioritize that and try to work on this guilt that I feel when I'm not working. When I'm playing a game and being lazy and having fun with my boyfriend, I almost always go, I have to work, I have to get some work, and I have to, you know, it's like, just enjoy what you're doing. Like, you don't always have to be working. And it's not because I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, it's because I feel like I should be working all the time. But when I'm working, I also do enjoy it. So it's like, I'm lucky in that way, I guess. So then I find people who don't like working, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is tricky, right? Because I don't know, because I don't have that experience. So can I really soundly give advice to somebody who's completely different than me? And in which case, everyone is different from me, completely different from me. We might have some things in common, but we're all very unique. So is there really any advice to be given to anyone? I can tell you what works for me. You can try it. You can try other stuff. You know, I guess the only advice I could say is get advice from a multitude of people, especially people that are living the life that you would like to be living. So if you want a happy relationship, find someone with a happy relationship and ask them questions about it. If you want to be a successful investor, find someone who's a successful investor and ask them questions. If you can't find somebody to ask questions, read books, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, take courses, study it, Google it, you know, do research on Google Scholar, whatever it is. Figure out what the different ideas are for getting to that goal, because everybody's is different. And my advice should always be taken with a grain of salt because it's really only useful for me. So that's kind of my long-winded theory there. Hey, Kyle, thank you. Because when someone says, if you don't like the job, my thought is like, well, get a different job. But like, have you ever liked a job? In which case, what happened to that job? Because I'm like thinking about let me run through the jobs that I've had. Because they weren't great jobs. Like, I certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Ben, thank you for the super hearts. Thank you so much. I wasn't born rich. Okay, I was born to a single mom. We lived in like I'm not trying to, you know, insult or anything my family, but we were not well off financially. We struggled to get by. We struggled to pay bills. Fairly certain we were behind on bills much of the time. And I had to, in a way, that probably influenced me. So because I saw my mom struggling, I remember, I've talked about this, one night seeing her crying over bills at the dining room table. So this is like checkbook days. You know, she has the checkbook out, she has all the different bills, the mailed bills kind of laid out, and she's crunching the numbers, and the numbers aren't adding up the way that she needs them to. And she's crying, and she's really upset. She's feeling hopeless, she's feeling overwhelmed, she's feeling alone because she is a single mom and I'm a kid and I can't really help her, I don't know what's going on, and she's probably just feeling really humbled and screwed and frustrated. So many things, right, came out in that moment, and I remember seeing that and being really upset and thinking, one, I remember having the thought that money was an evil, horrible thing, which I no longer believe. But two was that I was never going to have that experience. I was never going to be crying over bills. I was never going to feel overwhelmed. I was never going to allow myself and my money to get out of my control. And that changed something in me. That moment, our childhood really does shape us for the future. That moment was I still remember it. You know, I can still see her there. I can remember how the dining room was laid out. I don't really remember where I was and how I witnessed this, or if we engaged with each other during it at all. I just remember seeing it happen. Like maybe I left my room to go to the bathroom and I walked back to my room and I could see her crying, and I didn't know what to do. I don't know really what happened. I should ask her if she remembers that. But I do remember that experience, and what I thought was like, this is not going to happen to me. I've not wanted to have kids my entire life, and I think that part of it is because of that. Now, I have stepkids, which is awesome, because I don't have to squeeze them out of my body. We have them half of the time. They're awesome. I love teaching. I love kids. But I really remember thinking that, like, part of why my mom was behind on bills was because she had 2 kids with guys that weren't around. So she was mom and dad to 2 kids, and that was not easy, right? Because she wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth either. She was one of, like, 5 siblings or something. I don't know. Regardless, I'm kind of digressing there, but so I maybe at some point subconsciously made the decision that I needed to work hard to get lots of money so that I would never have to worry about that or feel that way. Also, I'm very frugal. I really don't like spending my money. I'm very good at saving my money. It's hard for me I bought a lipstick the other day for $16, and I was like, what the actual heck am I doing with my life? Like, you know, I really was like, $16 is so much, but I've had it on my Amazon wish list for like 2 years, and no one's gotten it for me, and I never got it, so I was like, all right, I got this $1,200 stimulus check. Let me stimulate the economy and spend $16. Whoo, I'm going crazy. It's like, so it's silly, right? Like to think that, oh my God, I'm like going so crazy. I'm going wild now, spending $16. But to me, that's like, you know, I'll get like a $5 lipstick from Walmart, and even then I probably won't do that. So a lot of these things that happen to us, they kind of form us and make us who we are. So if you haven't had experiences like that, you might not feel the way that I feel, and you probably don't. And then it's really hard for me to know what's going to work for you, what's going to unlock that energy in you. And is there some other way for you to, you know, maybe having a job isn't the answer for you. Maybe running your own business is the answer. I worked for many years. I worked for about 10 years before stopping being an employee and going and working for myself, which I do now. But my boyfriend pretty much worked for himself from the beginning. I mean, he started his own business, I think when he was like 16 or something. He was doing, he used to like sell video games or something, and he would fix computers. The selling video games thing might not be true. I don't know if I'm confusing that with a story that I read or something. I don't know. Don't tell him that I don't know his whole employment history or employee entrepreneur history. But yeah, so he started doing that, and he always loved doing that, and he never wanted to be an employee, and he pretty much never was. So I don't know what that's like either. Maybe maybe you don't want to, maybe finding a job, keeping a job, those aren't the things for you. Maybe starting your own business is the thing for you. Maybe, you know, some people do like couch surfing, and they live like a minimalist life. Like they have pretty much nothing. Some people choose to be homeless. You know, not everybody who is homeless is like a, you know, drug addict and has made all these horrible choices. Some people like to like live off the land and you know, just kind of get by like that. I don't know what it is for you, right? To me, that seems like, oh my God, no. Like, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, no, don't even mention that. Don't give anyone that idea. Do not do that. But it's like, that's because that wouldn't be a good choice for me. I would not feel safe or comfortable or secure in that situation, but maybe you would, you know? Maybe all the things that you have, you don't even really care about, and you have way more than you need, and you should just get a room with somebody, you know, where I've 10 years ago now, but 10 years ago, I lived in an apartment with 3 other people. It was a 4-bedroom apartment, and I paid $200 a month, and that included cable and internet and rent and a parking space and everything. $200 a month. I mean, you don't even need a job for that. You just need to figure out how to get $200 a month. You could work like one shift somewhere. You could just walk into different shops and stuff and be like, hey, what work do you have? What kind of like, you know, extraneous work can I help you? You need any filing done? You need, you know, I don't know. I don't really know how to like do mechanical work. So use some wrenches turned. I don't know. And just find odd jobs, you know? Aw, thank you, Lena TD. Hey, Costa. I'm gonna tell you that every day like you were. What? Happy Memorial Day. Yeah, exactly. I know. Again, I don't really feel like Memorial Day should be called, I feel like it shouldn't be Happy Memorial Day, right? Because it's like, oh, happy people died for you to be free day. Like, okay, that's humbling, and that's something to be grateful for and in awe of. But is it happy? I don't know. I don't know. Would they want that to be happy? Like, you don't say, like, happy day that someone you know died day. You know, happy death day. Like, I don't think, right? It's good to, like you even say, Edward, you know, you're in the funeral business. You know, celebrate people's lives and their funeral. That's what we want to do. We want to celebrate the life that they lived. But you're not necessarily like, happy day of death. Like, you know, it's not really the right way to say it, I feel like. So I know it's like Happy Memorial Day is the way that we say it, but I'm like, I just don't feel right even saying it back to people. Junior, just apply yourself. This works. Junior? Who are you talking about, Junior? It was Lisa that was asking about that, right? I can't work in conventional jobs. What jobs can you do? I thought you said you never found a job you liked. Okay, I have lots of anxiety, and it's hard to function on a daily basis in major depression. Second part, suffer from major depression, and I can't get it out. Yeah, so that's, you know, a friend of mine, I don't want to say who it is because this is a private conversation that we had, but she is a Periscope broadcaster. That's some issue that she had. Any job that she's had, her anxiety has basically caused her to lose that job. I don't suffer from anxiety. I have my associate's degree in psychology. I'm learning more about psychological concepts, but I don't have the answers, and nobody really can have all the answers, right? But I also don't know like the best form of treatment for that. I don't know if medication is the best form of treatment, therapy. I think both of those things are probably beneficial in some way. And if you're not doing either of those things, then I would start there to talk to a professional, figure out how to manage your anxiety so that you can hold down a job. Because not having money, I would imagine, causes increased anxiety. I know not having money causes a lot of stress in personal lives and in relationships, so I would assume it would be the same for generalized anxiety. And always think about, like, so do a visualization too. So this worked for me, and again, it might not work for you. You might hate this, but I loved it. So I was 19, or maybe I was 20, I don't know. And I got this visualization from this event that I went to, where they said, close your eyes, picture a movie, you're in a movie theater, and the movie screen is black. You just got there, it's about to start. The movie kicks on, and you realize it's a movie about your life. It's a movie about your ideal, quote-unquote, perfect life. If there was no limitation, no worrying about money or status or relationships, anything, no limits, your perfect day, your perfect life, what does that look like? What movie are you seeing there on that screen? What are you wearing? Who are you with? What are you saying? What are you doing? What do you do when you first wake up in the morning? Where are you waking up? What kind of bed do you have? What are your pillows like? What are the blankets like? What size bed is it? What are the wall color? Are the walls painted? How big is this house? Is there multiple levels? What is your bathroom like when you go in there? What do you do first? What's your morning routine? Really, like, viscerally, in detail, in vivid detail, what would a perfect life look like for you? Because when you can see that, then you can reverse engineer it and go backwards and be like, okay, well, what's different between the life I have now and that life? Okay, so maybe you can't have this perfect life right now, but you could paint the wall a different color and start to move in that direction. You could get a different bed, you could get different pillows or linens or whatever, you know, these little things that make you start to feel like your dream life is possible. And what is it that you're doing for not for a living, like for money, but like, what are you doing? What are you filling your days with? Maybe you're speaking on stage and you're inspiring people, motivating people. That's what I saw myself doing. And I didn't know, apparently people make a lot of money doing that. I didn't know that. It wasn't about, oh, I'll make a bunch of money doing this. No, it was like, I want to impact people and tell them about my story and tell them that they're not alone and that they don't have to keep cutting themselves and they don't have to kill themselves because the future is brighter and that there is hope for them and that they are valuable and that even if they don't fit in right now or they haven't figured out their way yet, just hold on, just keep going and start to, again, visualize your dream life and start moving towards that because you can have it. because I have it, so I know that it's a reality. And I've had it for a long time. So even though some people have pointed at my previous relationship, which ended, so you could call it a failed relationship, I don't know that monogamy and being with one person forever is the only vision of success that everyone has. That's no longer my vision of success, and it wasn't, he wasn't my first boyfriend either. I really enjoyed the 7 years I was with that man. I enjoyed him. I thought it was great. Everything was great. Towards the end, not so great for either of us. We ended the relationship. Things are great again for both of us, I think. Last I talked to him, he seems to be doing well. I'm doing really well. So I've been happy this whole time, right? A breakup's not great. I had a couple months of feelings, that weren't the most positive all the time. But that's okay. It's not, everything's not going to be happy and perfect all the time. Not every day is going to feel like your perfect day, but tomorrow can be better, and the next day could be even better, and you will have good days in the future. So just remember that how you feel today isn't permanent, whether it's good or bad. So just enjoy right now, because right now is where your life is being lived, and think about what you could be grateful for. So I'm getting behind on comments. Let me try to catch up with this. Books make me feel so dumb. I read them, then forget 99% of it a week later. So Peter, they actually say, hi Peter, they actually say that you remember, maybe it's like 1% of what you read, right? And then it's like you remember 10% of what you hear. You remember, I'm making up these numbers, but this is the order in which it goes. So say you remember 1% of what you read, 10% of what you hear, 20% of what you write, and then like 50% of what you teach. So teaching is actually the best way to learn, which is part of why I like to read these books and then tell you what they're about, because it helps me to solidify and remember what the book was about. Stephen Reams, I actually used to be a Christian as well, and that religion of Christianity and Jesus actually did help me in some really dark times in my life as well. Any job can be good or bad if you have good or bad boss. Yeah, so that I was gonna run down my jobs, but I want to catch up on comments first, so let me just make a note to myself. Rundown of jobs, because this can also give you idea of different jobs that you might like to do or definitely won't like to do. Working on things that I enjoy instead of working something I hate to do, then I can't focus and I struggle, but if I'm working on something I love to do, I'm so happy. I work my ass off at my job as a photographer. So why do you put job in quotations there, Samantha? Why do you not view that as a job? I find this a lot. People who enjoy something that they do have a hard time viewing it as a job, because I think somewhere in their mindset they were told that they're not supposed to enjoy work. So it's like when they are enjoying themselves, it couldn't possibly be work. I'm sometimes blown away how much I love live streaming, because I actually make a living. As you can see, these are from the last 30 days, people who've supported me. People have sent super arts in this broadcast. Hopefully people will go support more on the website during this broadcast and forever, so that I can keep doing this because I love it so much. But it is my job, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just very, very lucky to have found something that I love to do so much, and people, I think in a way people love that I love it so much, and they love it, so it's like they want to support it and keep it going, because it's like contagious, that energy. So you're most likely to be most successful and financially so doing something that you enjoy doing, because people like that passion, and you'll have the energy. I did not want to go live today at all. I just wanted to be super lazy and play Fortnite all day. And instead I was able to do it, and I'm loving it, now that I'm live. But I also had that energy because I'm like, I love what I do. It's really important. I take it very seriously because I love it. And because I really do think it's so important. So it makes it easier to do it when I don't want to. Hey, Mark. Oh, you're trying to go to bed kind of early tonight, aren't you? At least early for me. I guess it's all relative, huh, Mark? I had a similar life, but mine was unstable AF. What do you mean unstable? Powerful inspiration. No one treats you better than yourself. I actually don't know if I agree with that, Stephen. Maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. So you said no one treats you better than yourself. So you mean that, like, you treat yourself better than anyone else treats you? Because I feel like in my experience, I have seen a lot of people that treat themselves very poorly, and typically I feel like other people must treat them better than they treat themselves. You've been homeless, not by choice. Oh my goodness. Do you want to tell us more about that? What kind of cult is this, Mike? This is the cult of positivity. Feel free to join in. Sorry you had to go through that, but if it ultimately helped you succeed, then maybe God had a plan. It is great what you do. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm more sorry that my mom had to go through that. I had to go through seeing my mom cry, right, and feeling depressed. But I was depressed about other things, too, not just that one experience. So my mom had the short end of the stick, you know, I think. Happy memories. The moron cult. What? So Sonam has the idiots and I have the morons. Not conventional like for others. I have bad anxiety and PTSD, but I'm also on meds and have therapy. Well, that's good. The latter part of that, of course. I'm about to go on a bachelor party. Will you take a picture with Team Smith? How much would it be? Would I take a picture with Team Smith? Wait, hashtag Team Smith? What do you mean? Like a picture of me holding a sign that says hashtag Team Smith? First, I must Google Team Smith because I'm afraid of what that could imply here. What is Team Smith? You used to cut too. Thank you, Nazco. I'm single now? No. I'm with Ed. I have a new boyfriend. It's not that new anymore, but yeah, a different boyfriend, I should say. Thank you for inviting your followers and retweeting, Lou. Hey, Sandra, thank you for inviting. I just have never had money. I'm on government assistance. I'd love to make it more money making. Unstable, I'll message you about that. Yeah, Samantha, if you want to work together on trying to figure out how to make your business more profitable, I would love to experiment with that for sure. Actually, you know what? We might have, let me check something before I say something that I don't like to make a promise that I can't follow through on. Let me check something here. Where is it? Over here? Yeah, here. Yeah, if you want, I could put you in our mastermind group calls. It's called the Next Level Mastermind Calls. It's every month, and oh wait, I'm only connected with you on Instagram, I think, not on Twitter, right? Or are you on Twitter too? Because I can't send a DM on Instagram while I'm live. Let me just see if I can find you on Twitter. Courageous Clicks or Samantha. Are you on Twitter? I don't see you. Just remind me to put you on there. Because there's a bunch of entrepreneurs in there that we meet every month and we talk about different things that are working for us, where we could use support, what things we're trying and experimenting with, and then we get updates each month. And then I take notes every month, so I will tell people, like, here's what you said your goal was, here's what you were focusing on, here's where you were last month, where are you at this month? And even if you miss a month here or there, I record it all, so you can always watch the replays to see what kind of everybody's doing and trying. And, you know, with the pandemic, it was actually really helpful, I think, for a lot of people, because several people in our group were struggling with just watching way too much media, right? They were just watching COVID-19 news all day long and going into, like, a state of anxiety. People who weren't anxious before then, like, they were just, and they realized, like, once they would jump on these calls, they'd be like, I'm watching the news way too much. I'm going to stop. And then it was like the next month, I watched a lot less news. It's really helping my anxiety. I'm a lot more productive. I rearranged my whole house. I'm doing all this stuff. It's, like, really cool to see these changes from month to month to month, you know? No, Lou, that's not even true. Oh, I did say new boyfriend, didn't I? Jeez. You don't have Twitter. Oh, okay. Do you have a shipping date? No. Lou, you had a rough day? Well, I love you, but I'm sorry that thing still doesn't exist. Oh my god, it is Memorial Day. We should totally wear the flag bikini tonight and go in the hot tub. Does everyone agree with this? Does anyone agree with this? Okay, let me end this broadcast and see what's next. Bob, Joe, Natalie, Ben, thank you for the super hearts, you guys. I think I'm going to see if my boyfriend wants to go in the hot tub now, because I actually did get a new bikini, and it's actually American flag, and I just realized that's kind of perfect for today. And also he wants to go in the hot tub because we just put it up last night because it broke. Now it's back together. There's a new one, and all this stuff that I said earlier in the broadcast. So I think we shall do that now. I will wear the patriotic bikini. I think that's a good plan. Private? No, it'll be public. I do have a private Periscope group. If you want to get in there, you just go to the link in my profile and become a monthly supporter, and you'll get into the private group. Yay, Ed's here. Okay, yes. Have a checkup from the neck up. Yes, go talk to somebody. Talk to a therapist. Talk to a professional. You're all special and can accomplish anything. I agree. Yeah, it's all about changing the mindset and realizing that, like, you're not stuck wherever you're at. You can get out of that. You can change it, for sure. You have the power. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you in a little bit. I gotta get changed, gotta get ready, and I hope to see you on the next juice. This has been A Moment in Time with Taylor. I hope you enjoyed that review of Charlie Munger's Poor Charlie's Almanack. Which we kind of like digressed from. Oh, I said I was going to do a rundown of my jobs. Okay, really quick. So first I worked at a movie theater, and the only thing that I didn't like about that job, well, there's a few things, but in particular there was one bad boss. There was one boss who was super cranky and mean, and I did not like her, and she was just crotchety, and she hated me, and I don't know why, and I didn't like it. And I've had people that I didn't get along with in jobs in the past, but all in all, that job was fine. It was not that big of a deal. It didn't really bother me. So that was that. Then I think my next job, I might be going out of order here, but I think the next job was the pizza place. So I worked at a pizza place. That was really easy. I did end up quitting that job one day because one of the delivery drivers, who was like the brother of the owner, was like a really intense cokehead, and he was being really mean to me one day, and I was just like, this is dumb. I'm making $8 an hour. I'm just going to work somewhere where it's not like these weird drugged out family antics. So I quit that job. And I quit the other job for similar reasons. It was like I was making minimum wage at the movie theater, and it's just like I knew my worth, right? I knew that I could get a job making minimum wage anywhere, anytime, and I was 16 years old, so I didn't care too much about like having a long employment history on my resume or anything like that. So then I worked for a little while at a Plato's Closet. That was the only job I ever got fired from. I worked there for like 2 weeks or something, maybe a month, and the assistant manager did not like me. I don't know why, but they just told me it wasn't working out one day, and I got fired, and I feel like I worked harder than anyone in that store. There were so many times that all the girls were just standing around talking, and I'd be carrying these like really heavy bushels of jeans around, and I'm not built for physical carrying of anything. And I'd be like, oh, what can I do next? I'd always interrupt them to be like, all right, well, I finished that, so what else can I do? And they just thought I was really annoying, which I probably was, but I was also a really hard worker, and that just didn't work out. So I got fired from that job, but that was okay. And then another job I had was a pet store, where we sold little tiny puppies, which I know is probably horrible, puppy mill puppies, but I really loved that job because I got to work with tiny puppies all day, and that makes my heart very happy. Even though I had to clean all their poop all day long, it was still awesome. And I also, after that, I don't know if these are in order, I don't think they are, but I also worked as a telemarketer for a couple of months. I quit that job. That was not a good job. It was fine. So most of these jobs I got promoted to management position within the first couple months or even month of working there. But the pay wasn't great, right? The management, back then it was like, oh, I get a little tiny bump in pay and a lot more responsibility, and liability. Like, I'm going to be in trouble if something happens. That never happened, which I was lucky for. And then I worked for Cutco, where I sold knives in people's houses and cut pennies in half. And I went and ran my own branch office for Cutco, and I enjoyed that job a little bit sometimes, but it was kind of like a scam company, Vector Marketing, so quit that one. And then I found the job I ended up liking the most, which I worked at for 6 years, and that was like the ages of 20 to 26 or 19 to 25, and that was durable medical equipment, which is wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, knee walkers, adaptive assistive equipment for people with physical disabilities. And I really love that job. That was a family-owned company by a married couple who had a couple daughters, and their first daughter was born profoundly disabled. So they learned through experience that it was very difficult to get the products and supplies that she needed through her insurance. So they decided to start their own business where they would help families like theirs. So it benefited them, of course, but also they could help other families to get what they needed. They knew how to jump through the hoops with the insurance companies, and I worked for them for 6 years, and I loved that job. But it was a small mom and pop kind of operation. They didn't have any interest in growing. They were getting older and wanting to retire and probably just close the business down, and I wasn't even able to pull off $40,000 a year salary from them, so I decided, you know what? I'm not getting paid enough here. I really do love it, but I need to prioritize my own financial goals. And I thought about buying that company. I still think about buying that company sometimes, but I talked to them about that, and they were interested in that. And then I had a bit of sticker shock when I saw how much a company costs that's profitable. And I realized that I was never going to make enough money while working there to actually own the company. So, and there probably isn't any bank that was going to give me a loan of that size. So I decided to go and try to make enough money to buy that company. And then I found live streaming, and I decided, I don't know if I really want to buy that company anymore because I really like what I'm doing now. And I make more money doing this than I've made doing anything else in my life. So that's pretty much my history. I don't think I skipped any jobs. I think that's pretty much it. But there's a lot of them, and some of them were pretty short-lived because whatever doesn't work for you, you don't like it, do something else. Realize that you're marketable. You can, if you are, right? If you're willing to work hard, you can work anywhere. As long as you're willing to work for a little bit of money in the beginning because you have no skills or experience and you're young. When you get older and you have lots of skills and experience, you can get paid a lot more, I hope. But you'll never get paid more than when you work for yourself. Unless you happen to nail some like CEO position somewhere where you'll be working like 14-hour days. So it's your turn code. What does that mean? Interview each other? Okay, Edward. Message me. I don't think you ever messaged me your email. I didn't get it. I checked all my messages today and emails. Hi, Questo. Hi, Alex. How much do I make doing this? It's very variable. Very variable. Last year was like 40,000, and the year before that was 80,000. So it's over 100,000 now. But that's gross revenue. But with business, when you work for yourself, you write off your expenses first and then pay your taxes on your bottom line, your net amount. When you're an employee, you pay taxes out of your net amount. So you pay taxes first and then you pay your expenses. So being an employee has serious financial downfalls. But not everybody can run their own business. One, you might not be able to figure out something that you can do and make money doing, and also you might not be, motivated enough or organized enough, or there's a lot of, not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. I don't believe. So 1099, ouch. No, it is yay. 1099, yay. W2, no. That's how I feel anyway. Oh my God, I love having a 1099. I love it. There's upsides and downsides. So if you write off a lot of your income, you might have harder times getting large loans, like if you want to buy a business or a house or something like that. But if you're saving up lots of cash, maybe you can just buy it in cash. It's weird. Banks are so weird what they base your ability to get a loan on. I'm starting to learn that as I get older. I'm like, that's so weird. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. All that matters is how much money you have coming in, which is just strange to me. Finley! Can I write off those board games? I absolutely can. Although I, again, really don't. I'm not great at spending money, so 40 to 80K is a big difference. Yeah, it is. Yep. It is, but it's still way more, like I said, when I was happiest at my work and making the most money that I had made prior to working for myself, I wasn't able to even pull off a $40,000 a year salary. So let's run the numbers on this. I think this is very important. So $40,000, let's look up just federal income tax. Okay, because your states are all different. So if you're making $40,000 a year, you pay 22% to federal income tax. That doesn't include Medicare, disability, SSI, all that. This is just income tax. So what did I say, 22%? which is $8,800 that you pay in income tax alone. Okay? So if you make $40,000 gross as an entrepreneur, how much do you think you might write off of that in expenses? First number I see, I'll use that number. How many expenses do you think you might incur running a business where that generates $40,000 gross? Chris, thank you for the super hearts. I'm also testing you to make sure someone's out there paying attention. Who's gonna put a number in the chat? Hi, Sean. Hi, Hizo. Did I not say hi to anyone? Laura. Juan. Hi, guys. Hi. Joe. Duo. Hi, guys. Rhodey. And just realize that maybe you're not seeing other people's comments because Periscope has a weird glitch. I am live on YouTube as well. If you want to go over there, you'll see other people's comments over there. 14,000. Okay, thank you. Matt's paying attention. So say you write off $14,000 of expenses for 1 year. So then your income that you report to the government is $26,000. You report the $40,000 and you report the write-downs to the expenses. You don't just say $26,000. You put the $40,000 and then you say what you spent the $14,000 on specifically. And I just want to make sure I have this number right. Self-employed. SE tax, federal SE tax. 15.3%. So 26,000 times 15.3% is $3,978. So you pay half, less than half, the amount of taxes in that instance, in that scenario. If you have $14,000 in expenses, you make $40,000. If you're an employee, you make $40,000. You pay $8,000 in income tax alone. Okay, the self-employed income tax the self-employed tax is 12.4% for Social Security and 2.9% for Medicare. So is that in addition to your in the income tax? I know I have checked, I've compared how much I would have paid if I had worked as an employee compared to what I actually paid, and it's always significantly more. So your federal income tax, which I believe maybe you have to pay for your self-employed as well, when you write it down, it brings you to 12%. So let me pull up another calculator so I can add these two numbers together. 26,000 times 0.212, 3,120 plus 3,978. So if you do have to pay both, which maybe you do, I don't actually, TurboTax does all the number crunching for me. It's still it's $7,000, which is still $1,000 less than you pay as an employee. And that's like worst case scenario, because I actually don't know if that's the true reality of the numbers. But even if it was, you're still saving $1,000 a year by working for yourself. Hello, 23K, how are you? Plus, you have all the freedom of not having a bad boss because you're your own boss. Hopefully you're not a bad boss, because if you are, then you're probably not making $40,000, you're probably making nothing, and you're going to have to go back and get a job. But yeah, you have the freedom to work when you want, how you want. You make all the rules, you make all the systems, you make all the processes, you choose what software, you choose the employees. The stress level is significantly less, which you can't even put into a quantifiable amount of money. So it pays back in multiples. I think. Okay, so I'm gonna go now. Like I said, I was gonna do like 20 minutes ago. Got a little carried away there, but I did want to run down that for you guys, for Jared and Lisa in particular. And now we will go have a little Memorial Day hangout in the hot tub, and I'll see you guys there on Periscope only. So if you're on YouTube, and you'll be able to see other people's comments too. So thank you again for the super hearts. Thank you for the support on the website. I love you guys so much for making this dream and this job a reality for me, and I hope to see you on the next juice. This has been A Moment in Time with Taylor. Remember to go sign up for my book reviews. They're totally free, and the next one goes out this week. So I send one out every 4 months. It's a compilation of all the books I've read over those 4 months, and I read big old fat books about money, like this one that we reviewed tonight, so that you don't have to, unless you want to. And if you want to, the link will be in that email as well. It's totally free, and it's 3 emails a year, so I don't want to hear your excuses. go sign up. Nextjuice.com. The link's in the profile. Also, you can see the previous campaign, so you can see exactly what you're signing up for. You'll know for sure that you're interested in it, which you should be because it's the most valuable thing ever. And add me to your Gmail contacts, nextjuice@gmail.com. That way it'll go in your inbox and not into your promotions tab, because you probably don't check all the emails in your promotions tab and you might miss my email if you let it sit in there. So those are my tips, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Oh yeah, Coolio. Hey, whatever makes you happy, I'm cool with it. This has been a moment in time with Taylor. I hope to see you guys on the next juice.